never go into anything because from the outside it looks like the people inside are balling. That's a terrible idea because there is no easy money in anything. I hate the demonization of 9 to 5. I don't like it at all because a lot of people find purpose there. A lot of people enjoy their jobs. A lot of people become millionaires in their job. What's the reality? Speak to people who are there, do your own research, find out as much as you can. It's wise to have that safety net before you make a jump. Don't just go and fire your boss because you got one influencer gig. You might have to beg for that job later.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Where is the Money? A podcast brought to you proudly by Access ARM Pensions. Here we help you stop chasing financial freedom blindly and start defining it wisely. So today we're not here to just talk naira and kobo. We're here to help you build a future that feels good, that works for you, and most importantly, a future that lasts. Now, today's episode is a little different. This one is about slowing down intentionally. It's about asking the hard questions. It's about telling yourself when it is enough and knowing when it is enough. So, in the studio with us today is our guest, the one and only Salem King. Salem is a content strategist extraordinaire and one of the most thoughtful creators on purpose, productivity, and the entire creative process. He has built an impressive global career, hitting major milestones at a relatively young age, while also carrying his followers along on a journey of purpose. So, Salem, you're welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. You need to send me that bio. I need
Okay.
I need to steal it.
Okay, it was all you. In this episode, we are unpacking what it means to have enough, knowing when you have enough, and how to define success on your own terms and not on society's script, basically. So, before we go too far into the conversation, let's dive into the financial fix of the week. And this is a dilemma being experienced by someone in the audience. I've been running my social media manager business for 3 years now. Some months are good, but honestly, most months I'm losing my mind or going into debt to keep things afloat. But it's not just the money that's stressing me, it's everything else. I'm literally running everything alone. And even when I try to outsource help, it's just not working. I also think of scaling into UGC content creation for brands that will pay. But where is the time? I've had customers yell at me and days where I don't even get to eat because there's literally no time. How do I grow this business without losing my mind? Now, Salem, you see the good work you're doing with Creatorium, and you've been doing the 100 days challenge. I think you're on, exactly, Creator 101. So I know that this is something that you're probably very familiar with, considering that you do a lot of work with creatives. Yeah. So what do you have to say to this person?
The first thing I learned from Seth Godin that building a business is not only about doing more work, it's about finding better clients. So a lot of the time, if your goal for the month is 1 million naira, you have to decide, do I want to make 100K from 10 clients? Do I want to make 500K from 2 clients? Or do I want to make 1 million naira from 1 client? So, of course, working with better clients will demand better work from you.
Exactly.
It will demand you to set up your business in a very proper way. You cannot just be random. And that's just work that is required for you to put yourself in a place where you're doing less work or making the same amount of money or even more money. That's not something that a lot of people in creative professions get right early. You know, people who work in other industries, you don't really have a choice. You have to think like that.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're in corporate, because everybody's constantly thinking about the bottom line.
Chasing the numbers.
Exactly. Everybody's crunching the numbers. But creative people tend to think about work only based on the vibe. But you're building a business. If you want to make money, you have to think about, how do I make this business sustainable for myself? And that might mean increasing your prices, tightening your systems, putting structure, and letting go of some clients so that the clients you do keep, you can serve very well and get paid very well. So if this person continues the way they're going, they will just always be burnt out, because trying to do more work to get more money is a race to the bottom, because there's only so much of your time that you can trade for money. Right? So something else has to change. It has to either be the kind of clients you're working with, the kind of service you're offering, the packaging of it, you know, the way you're presenting it, something has to change in that process. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results and nothing will change, and you just wake up one day and realize you're burnt out, you can't work, and you don't even have enough money to take a break.
So basically, quality over quantity.
100%. So quantity is important on the content side of things, on the production side of things, on the showing up side of things. But when it comes to what will make you money as a business, quality is way up there, especially when you're a freelancer and you're a team of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much you can do in 24 hours.
Of course.
Okay, but then say this person wanted to take this piece of advice that you just gave now. And there's always that fear of, oh, I want to rebrand, I want to repackage, I want to target a higher class of people that I feel can pay better. There's always the risk of going hungry.
Yeah.
You will be hungry.
Yes.
Okay, so what would you tell this person? Because I'm sure that's something like, that's a blocker.
Yeah. Transitions are difficult, honestly. Like, the nature of life for you to never run out of problems, right?
Okay.
In fact, the alleviation of one problem presents a new problem. If you're in a season of your life where you didn't have enough money, you know, you didn't know what to eat, you're looking for ways to do things, and you know you didn't have a job. If you once you get a job, that money problem has been alleviated. But now you have a new money problem. It's now, what do I do with this money? What do I buy? What do I not buy? What can I really afford? Now you have things you can get robbed. Before, you didn't have anything to be stolen. Now you have property to protect. You now have interest to protect. So there's all those things. At every stage of your life, there's always a new problem. We can't eradicate problems. What we can constantly try to do is improve the quality of our problems. So if you're in a place where I don't want to deal with these 10 problematic clients, each of them is giving me 5K, they're calling me at 2 a.m., you know, I want to deal with one client that when they call me at 2 a.m., I'm happy because
value.
This is how much you need to understand that there is going to be a transitionary period, but you will look forward to, I'm doing this to improve the quality of my problems. You look forward to that goal. I always tell people that even though you can't make your problems go away, you want to wake up one day and say, the problems I had last year and the problems I have now, which one do I prefer? And if the problems you currently have you prefer, that's growth.
Yeah, that's growth.
Even though you still have
I agree.
So the transition will be hard. There's no, I wish I could tell you, you know, go do something to make it easy, but maybe there isn't anything. And I think everyone should be humble enough to, a period of transition might require you to move back in with your parents for a few months.
Real.
You know, it might require you to shut down a part of your business. It might require you to move to a smaller place.
Yes.
Move to your village for a while until you get back on your feet. No, seriously. Because you know, okay, this is why I am doing this. It's not just for any reason. It's not because I like it there. It's because there is a goal. I'm moving towards something and I'm not ashamed of the process required to get there.
I agree with you. So the goal should be what is topmost in mind.
Yeah.
Well, great. You spoke about transitions. And you said that there's always a change. When you move from one situation, you transition to another.
Yeah.
So let's take it back a bit. You've done the 9-to-5 hustle.
Yes, I have.
And you were there for quite a bit, some years.
Yeah, 3+ years.
What was it like?
It was interesting. It was my first job out of uni. I was 21 years old. I'm still surprised they gave me a job. But I learned so much in that process. I learned about structure, which is something I'm now applying to my business as a content. You know, even the phrase business as a content creator, some people look like, oh, what are you talking about?
That?
But that's how I treat what I do. It's a business.
Yeah.
So I learned structure. I learned how to market to different segments of people because I worked with a company that was selling premium real estate. So it wasn't just like mass housing stuff. So I needed to learn like how to speak to wealthy people, how to know what they're thinking. So even with my content, that's how I think, who am I making this for?
Target audience.
You know, who's the one person I'm talking to? I'm not speaking to a crowd. I'm speaking to one person. So to that one person, it has to be very relatable. That's stuff I learned from doing sales and marketing in real estate. So it was a very rewarding period as a young person just starting my life. Was the perfect springboard for me, honestly.
You sound like you enjoyed it.
Well, I did not say that.
Okay. Okay. So what made you
I
stop?
was grateful for it, is what the word is. I was grateful for the foundation it gave me, is what it is. And I also didn't really have a choice, because if I didn't like it, what was I going to do in my life, So it's one of those things where you're not thinking about whether you like it or not. You're just thinking, I'm hungry, I need to eat. What do I need to do in order to eat? How do I do well to make sure that my next month's meal is guaranteed? And that's what I did. Just showed up every day for a period of time till that changed.
That's nice. So why did you leave?
That's a good question. I left because I really wanted to chase my dreams. That's not the real answer. I left because I started posting on social media consistently, and more people were telling me to teach them like what I knew. You're like, oh, how do you make your videos? How are you able to say so much within such a short time? I film and edit my videos on my phone. So people were like, how do you do that? How are you able to do that on your phone? So I started teaching people. I did free classes initially because I was too scared to charge any money, because I was like, what if I charge money and the class is rubbish? So let me just make it free, since I don't know that people can actually replicate the success I've had by applying the principles I teach. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do a free class. At least if it goes badly, we just wasted each other's time. But nobody will be like, oh, where's my money? Because there's no money. So I did a free class. I saw the results a number of creators got. There were all kinds of creators, makeup, travel, different kinds of creators. And I just taught them what I knew about personal branding, content strategy, storytelling, stuff like that. And then I saw the results they got. I was like, next one will be 5K, And then I charged 5,000 naira. I still had my 9 to 5 at this time, but I charged 5,000 naira for a class, and 100 people signed up in 2 days. 100 people signed up. So the money I made from that class was like a number of like a couple months of my salary. Right? So that was the moment I was like, oh wow, I don't need to do this job. And then I started to sort of plot my escape, because I thought, if I'm doing this thing on the side and I'm getting this much from it, what would it be like if I were doing it full time? And I loved to teach. I have a passion for transferring knowledge. Everything I learn, I want to teach somebody else. So I figured, okay, I my job is okay, but this thing I love more than I love my job. How do I put more in this direction? So I did that. I started to plot my escape. A few months later, I was out of there.
So how are you able to handle that bias, especially from African parents, when you tell them, I'm leaving my job, I want to be on social media, doing stuff?
I couldn't tell my parents that. It's fun. I even had to, this is not advice to anybody, but like at the time I had to pretend that I wanted to go for my master's, a master's degree I still haven't gotten. But I had to pretend I wanted to go back to school.
Okay.
And so I had to leave my job to go back to school. But while I left, I was doing more content, putting more effort into all of that. I was still living with my parents at the time. So that sort of gave me a cushion, because when people want to leave their jobs, it's a very rough period, because like, where am I going to be getting money from while I try to build this thing that doesn't have 2 feet yet? I had my parents, as a cushion for that. So, no, they didn't understand. But less than a year later, I had made enough money from content creation to go live by myself.
Okay.
So that sort of cemented little by little, like them starting to say, okay, maybe you're not doing so bad. Sometimes they would still call me and say, are you okay? Do you have money? My mom would drive by my house and drop food stuff, like just take food first, and just know that you've eaten. My dad didn't start to take me seriously until I think one time I had to be on TV. During lockdown, I was on Channels TV, and he was like, what did they invite you for? I said, I'm going to be on the show Rubbing Minds with Ebuka. He's like, as what? He's like, so what are you going to talk about? I said, I'm going to talk about content creation. He's like, what? Seriously? And then he sends the flyers to his friends, like, oh, my son is going to be on, and then now, of course, things have changed a lot since then, but it took a while for them to come around, like at first, which is normal, not because of any bad blood or anything. It's just like, what are you doing with your life? Like, you have a degree in economics. What do you mean you want to be making videos? But yeah, that's what the journey was like. They've come around pretty much now.
That's lovely. Okay, now this might be a bit personal, but knowing that every business person experiences it. When you start a business, not even just at the start, I feel like at every phase in growing a business, there will be down times. There will be times when you sit down and think, should I really be doing this at this point in my life? And it has financial repercussions, emotional repercussions. Like, do you experience those, and how do you handle them?
Yes, I experience them just like the next person. And it's that thing again about creative professionals. Your every month is not guaranteed. You can have like a really good August. And like September will be in the trenches, like the trenchiest of all trenches. And then, September is like, oh, let me pick myself back up. Then you will now realize after rock bottom, there's still another
bottom under the rock.
You get? So that can be really rough.
Yeah.
But what I always encourage people to do, and what I have tried to do myself, is to separate your business funds from your personal funds. So treat what you do as a business. Separate your personal funds from your business funds. When you get paid, pay yourself as a member of staff of your company.
Yeah.
So that even if you as a person you're broke, your business
is not broke.
Because your camera can break anytime.
Very true.
Your lights can spoil. Whatever it is you use for your work, anything can happen. And then that affects you directly. So what I try to do is it's like a prevention mechanism, sort of, because I know that every month is not going to be the same. So I try not to let it go to my head when I have a really good month. So sometimes I have a really good month, like it's like back to back to back. I'm like, yes, I'm in demand, But after that month, like, you never know, like everything could just go dry, and it's not any fault of yours. It's just like the way things are set up. For example, every January, a lot of people in creative professions don't eat good in January. In December, you can have a ball because everybody's partying, everybody's patronizing small chops, everybody's baking cake, everybody's partying, DJs are fully booked, photographers are fully booked, videographers, content creators, everybody. But January, it's like, even if your birthday is in January, your celebration will not even be loud like that, because your friends can't even buy you anything.
They'll give you your gift in February.
If because February they're still recovering. At
least January salary would have entered.
Well, January salary is for December. It's the damage you did in December.
Okay.
So a lot of people is, you have to understand times and seasons. Understand that, okay, if in December I'm getting fully booked, I need to know that there will be a January where I will not be fully booked. How do I prepare for that time? And one of the easiest ways is to just separate personal funds from business funds. Like, we can talk about other things like savings and all that, but this is like the simple way to make sure before you've even made the step to save, your business already like exists as its own thing. So even if you're at a point where things are rough, your business can sort of fund you for a while, until you get back on your feet and the business is able to take care of itself. But that's what I do.
I'm sure it works for you. That's so great. So now, you already mentioned that you left 9 to 5, which I think is a very brave thing to do. There are so many people who are stuck. Yeah. They are stuck because they don't like what they're doing. Yeah. But they can't leave because of that safety net of knowing that at the end of the month you at least get something. Even if it's not what you think you're worth, but you stay regardless. And then there are lots of people who they have that calling to be like content creators or be in the freelance industry. The gig economy is taking off, but they don't just know how to make that transition. Yeah. So we have you who successfully did it, and you're still, doing big things for yourself. Yeah. So there's someone out there now who is trying to make that transition from 9 to 5 to the creator economy, as you call it. What 2 things would you tell that person to prioritize while making that transition?
That's a great one. 2 things inspired. There's like 7 things inspired. But let's keep it at 2.
Okay.
First of all, you need to have a financial safety net. So have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses in savings. Right? 3 to 6 months. That's what I'll be honest, I didn't have that in savings when I left, but I was living with my parents.
You had your parents.
So I wasn't paying rent and I didn't have to worry about food. If you're living by yourself, let's not get into it. But yes, it's wise to have that safety net before you make a jump.
Yeah.
Don't just jump, don't just go and fire your boss because you got one influencer gig. You might have to beg for that job later. Second thing I would say everyone should have is an open mind.
Okay.
I love that you said a lot of people feel stuck because it's not work they love. I hate the demonization of 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like it at all because a lot of people find purpose there. A lot of people enjoy their jobs. A lot of people become millionaires in their job. So every time people say the salary is the bribe they give you to forget your dreams, and all that, I'm just like, no, that's not it. Don't demonize it. So everyone needs to have an open mind and also know, okay, if I want to leave, why do I need to do this? What am I optimizing for? Is there something I want to give my time to that being at this job does not give me the opportunity for? For me, when I was leaving my job, it wasn't just about money. I know I said, I made more money in 2 days than I normally would make in a couple months, but I deeply desired time freedom because I wanted to travel. My dream since I was a teenager, I just wanted to travel. I just wanted to be able to go different places to speak. I've been in the past 2 weeks, I've been in 3 cities. I literally just flew in here this morning.
Wow.
I love it so much. I probably love that more than I even love money. I'll be honest. I love just getting called and say, oh, can you be in so and so place day after tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I can. And they send the tickets and I go there. I love that. That's something I always desired in my life. So I think everyone should be very clear on what they find something that's more important to you than money. Because 1, the money might not come. 2, the money might actually come faster than you think. When it comes faster than you think, then what? Who are you now that you have money? Why do you continue to work? So it's important for you to establish what's more important to you than money, so that even when you have a lot of money, you know where you want your money to go. It's not about stunting on Instagram. It's not about, peppering them. You know that this is why I wanted to have money, because there's this other thing that is more important to me than money. And then finally, what else do I think people should prioritize if they're trying to move? I think you should have a plan. I think I already talked about that with the money, but also have a plan for the business, because there's sometimes people leave their jobs to pursue something because everybody say, there's money in that thing, there's money in crypto, bro, crypto, man, or I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but people just hear that, this lady opened a nail tech salon. It's huge in Abuja, and we'll say too like this, or they say Airbnb or short stay apartment. If you can just rent this house,
sensational,
50% occupancy, they'll just lay out one very on hypothetical plan that's not based on any research. And just tell you, if you can just put 500k here in 6 months, you don't know, where did you get all those numbers from? So it's important to do your research, understand what's happening in the market, what's the reality, speak to people who are there. Do your own research, find out as much as you can. Never go into anything because from the outside it looks like the people inside are balling. That's a terrible idea, because there is no easy money in anything, not even crime. There is no easy money in anything. There's no free lunch anywhere. Whatever anybody does that looks like they carry it gracefully. And I'm able to say this because I'm a content creator, and one weird thing about being a content creator is everybody feels like they can do your job. Right? People just say that, guys, it's not video, and everybody just feels like they can do your job until they have to do a monthly dump or something, and they're like, you people try you. So it is tough. It's easy to look at how somebody carries something and feel like, it's not heavy because of how they carry it. But the fact that they carry it well doesn't mean it's not heavy. They just carry well. It doesn't mean it is without its challenges. So definitely make sure that you're seeing it for yourself, what it's going to be, not just making a conjecture out of what you're seeing. I mean, this looks like a really nice shiny object. Let me go on. You're going to find out in a very tough way why everybody is not just going to do it.
Lovely. Okay, you already mentioned having a financial safety net. You also mentioned putting structure to your business. I just want to ask you, as a business person, like you said, you manage your content creation as a business. So what are, like, say, 3 financial habits in terms of saving, investments, long-term financial planning? What are 3 habits that you swear by?
It's more than 3 again. But we'll keep it at 3. Okay. 1, definitely separating my personal funds from business funds. That's non-negotiable. Before it used to be all one and the same, but now I try to separate it as much as possible. 2, it would be investing, like, for the long term, like thinking about my life, not just within the context of this year, but just thinking, if for some reason I can't make content anymore for a whole year, am I going to be fine? That's something I think about a little too much, maybe a little too much. So yeah, because I feel like anything can happen.
Yes,
you know, of course I don't pray for anything to happen, but it's just like, if for any reason, like, would I be okay? I don't want to have to beg anybody. I don't want to. So yeah, so I just put money away in funds that will continue to grow, so that it's not just like money in the bank and everything. And then number 3, what would that? Insurance, I think. Health insurance.
Valid.
That's something a lot of people who don't work 9 to 5s do not have or take seriously, because, you know, you may not fall sick for a while. You fall sick, you go to a pharmacy, none of that, but you could just have something super serious. You know, you never know. So that's something I started to take seriously just some years ago. Once you start to near 30, you start to just take your life more seriously. You know, so you start to just think about everything like, I need to hit the gym, I need to eat right, I need to get my money right, stuff like that. So of course, just to put it in context, these were not things I had figured out from day one. You know, so if you don't have it figured out, don't feel bad. You know, you can start now. And I think just starting to pay yourself also. One thing I had that I really liked when I was doing my 9 to 5 was a pension fund. I really loved it because they used to send me, and it was actually Access Area Pension.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still get the messages every month. So they used to send me, they send like a certain amount every month on your behalf. You know, and then when I went by myself, I stopped because it's just like, you know, I didn't know what it was. You know, it was just like, what am I going to eat today? That's the only thing I was worried about. You know, but at a certain point, you need to start thinking more long term. You know, just making sure that you're okay for a while. You didn't ask me about this, but I'm going to say, when I left my job, that first money I made was like very nice. But the next one, before I saw the next one, it was tough.
Wow.
It was very tough. And I remember one time when I came here, I don't know if it was here, but I came to a branch because someone had told me that if I had pensions, I could get a certain percentage of it if I had been out of work for a while.
Yeah.
That thing saved my life.
Are you serious?
Oh my God. It wasn't a lot, but at the time, like, I didn't think it was possible. I just said, you know what, I'm just going to try my luck. They say, no, that's fine. I'll go back to, you know, manage my life. But, you know, I had all the necessary documentation and it worked out. I got some of my money. And that was money that I didn't even put away for myself. It was my company.
Yes, I was paying it, yeah.
So imagine, you know, now I'm making a lot more money, and imagine like I started putting that away for an extended period of time. It will just do so much for me. So that's something I'm taking more seriously in this season of my life. Like now I'm married, I'm a whole person's husband, you know, and all.
It's not easy.
Yeah, like, you know, because if it's just me, I can just like freestyle. But now I'm like, I'm responsible for somebody. So yeah.
Oh, I understand. And just to shed more light on what you said about being able to access a percentage of your contributions so far. Even now, as an entrepreneur, we have the micro pensions that people that have at least 3 staff can sign their staff on for that, and then they start making contributions. The staff start making contributions. So as an entrepreneur, you can do that for yourself. At least you're growing. So as you're growing, your pension contributions too can grow with you, because one thing is constant: time will pass. At the end of the day, whether you're a freelancer or not, time will pass, and then old age is waiting for all of us. We pray to live long, right? So that's something that a lot of creatives, freelancers, consultants. I don't think there's a lot of awareness about it out there yet. But yes, just putting it out there, micro pensions is available for you. So if you're a freelancer, an entrepreneur, you just need to sign up to a micro pension plan, and then you can start contributing towards having a very fulfilling retirement. There are probably some listeners out there who, I don't know, the whole idea of being a creative, it's appealing. You already addressed the possibility of not having money for a while, possibility of going hungry for a while, finding balance and all of that is very important. So, and you also mentioned that you do not support the demonization of the 9-to-5 hustle, which I commend, because the things we hear. The things we hear. So what advice will you give to someone who is trying to, balance contentment with ambition? Maybe they're not doing so bad in their 9-to-5. They don't even mind the job. I mean, they probably like it to some extent. But then you go on the gram, you see people, I quit my 9-to-5 and I started influencing full-time last year. And this year I made, it's all the rave now. So what would you tell them in terms of balancing out ambition, contentment? What do you say?
First of all, as much as you can, eliminate comparison. It's almost impossible, right? I get it, because we're human beings. We always need to look to the left and to right to make sense of where we are, our lives, and all. But to the extent that you can, you need to just eliminate comparison, because social media, like when someone comes and says, I made so amounts in revenue or profits, do you get? Nobody asks those questions.
Actually.
Like, how much did you spend? Oh, our goods are sold out, but are you in profit? Did you make a profit? Nobody comes to tell you that. Things on social media are also not always as they seem. When I had my first job, my starting salary was 84K, right? And I had colleagues who were on the same salary, but they had cars. It was my first job. I didn't have a car. I used to take along to work. That's public transport, for context. I used to take public transport to work. I would take like 3 stops, keke to one place, then bus to one place. Like, it took about an hour to get to work every day. But I had colleagues, similar salary, they had cars. So I used to do the math. Like, how long is it going to take me to buy a car of, 1.5 or 2 million naira? How long would I have to save? And it was a very long time. That I would have to save, and not do anything else with my salary, not exist, not live, and just be saving my salary only for 2 years before I could. So I started asking, how are you people buying cars? How are you people doing this thing? And then some people were just honest with me about oh, my dad got it for me, when I finished NYSC. Oh no, it's not my car, it's my uncle's car. I live with my uncle, there's an extra car, that's what I drive. So I started to ask people, and then I realized, oh wow, everybody's life is really different.
Sure.
Because you could see somebody wear something super flashy, and say, wow, this guy is just falling, man. But you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know where they got it from. I've been on trips that my parents paid for in full. But I'll post that I went there.
Of course.
And someone will be like, wow, this guy is just traveling on time. But you don't know that my 1 naira is not inside. So you have to just be very, your path is your path. Your lane is your lane. If you decide that you want to pursue something, let it be for your own reasons. And when you figure out what your reasons are, or in order to figure out what your reasons are, the question you should keep asking yourself, and I'm going back to that again, is what am I optimizing for? And I think I should explain what I mean by that question a bit more. What are you trying to achieve by this thing that you can't achieve any other way? What's your most important goal? So for example, if you're optimizing for more money, there's a certain way that you go about your hustle. They're just this 1 year, I just want to make more money. Sleep is not important. Rest is not important. Who mental health help? You're just going hard because you're I'm going to go hard like this for 1 year because you're optimizing for more money. So you know that, okay, at the end of this year, I'll stop after I've made so and so amount of money. If you're optimizing for time freedom, for example, that will determine the kind of opportunities you take. Because now, when a client says, oh, I'll pay double what the other, you're that's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm optimizing for. What I'm optimizing for is time freedom. So I'm not financially motivated in this moment. If what you're optimizing for is to spend more time with your kids, or what you're optimizing for is international opportunities for travel, it will influence how you go about certain things. For example, with creative people, there's this thing. Creative people hate to hear the word exposure. I don't know if you know about it.
Exposure doesn't pay the bills.
Exactly. It's so annoying. Like, if you tell them, oh, we're not going to pay you, but we're going to give you, they hate to hear it. Even me too, I hate to hear it. Let me not act as if I'm holy. I hate to hear it. But depending on what I'm optimizing for per time, there are certain opportunities that will come. There's no money involved, but I know what I'm going to get out of being in a certain room at a certain time, in a certain location. That's the payment for me, right? So the person on the other side, I feel like, oh, I don't have money to give this guy. So it's now left for me to know that, okay, is there something else in it for me other than money?
Yes.
And this question is so important because money is one tool in a world where there are so many other tools, even though money is like the most important, popular form of means of exchange, but you just need to ask yourself, understand deeply, what am I optimizing for? So that when you see somebody else on the journey that you desire, you understand that maybe they're doing the same thing as you, but they're doing it for different reasons. So you will not approach it the same way. Someone might be at a 9-to-5 they don't love because they have a 5-year plan. Maybe they are saving 70% of their salary and you don't even know, because at a certain point they want to start a business, or at a certain point they want their children to go to one particular school that they wouldn't normally be able to afford if they were an entrepreneur trying to hustle. So they're like, I'm going to do this job until my child finishes nursery school. You get? So everybody's journey is like so intricately different. Like we say everybody's journey is different and is apparent, of course, but it's so complexly different that we can't even wrap our minds around it. So everybody needs to be so lost in their own journey that you don't even have space to analyze somebody else's own, because you cannot understand it from the outside.
Wow, thank you so much. You've been dropping wisdom nuggets all day. Okay, so if we're being real, financial peace of mind isn't just a vibe. It's all about planning, just as Salem has said. So whether you're climbing the corporate ladder or stepping out of it, you need a structure that supports the next chapter that your life is going to get into. And with Access ARN Pensions, you can start building towards that peace with a retirement savings account, RSA. And you can even start adding to it with additional voluntary contributions if you are employed. And then if you are an entrepreneur, a freelancer, or someone in the creative economy, micro pensions is your best bet. So this is not just about retirement. It's about giving yourself options and things to fall back on in the future. So start today with Access ARN Pensions, build financial freedom for yourself, and also know when to say enough and actually mean it. So Salem, do you have any other things to leave with our audience? If you want them to take away one key thing from this entire podcast, what would it be?
Yeah, I would tell everyone to start small. Dream big, but start small. People always say your dreams should be so big that they scare you. I agree, but I don't think your goals should be so big that they scare you. Because your goals should be broken down to like the smallest the smallest task.
Actionable.
The smallest actionable task. Because if it's so big, it will scare you to the point where you do nothing and you never move in the direction you want to go. So no matter how big your dream is, no matter how big your goal is, break it down into, okay, I have this 5-year plan. What do I need to do this year? What do I need to achieve at the end of this year? What do I need to do at the end of this quarter? Now, what does that mean? What do I need to do every month to get that? What do I need to do every week? What do I need to do when I wake up tomorrow morning? And break it down. So that thing you need to do tomorrow morning, it's like, you don't have to think about it. It's easy. You can just do it. But that thing you need to do tomorrow morning, you do it 300 times, it accumulates and adds up to that big goal you want. But if you only think about the big goal, you just will never do anything. It will just look so outlandish because you haven't touched it. You don't have any frame of reference. You don't have any context. It's something you want, but because you don't understand it, it's going to continue to feel far from you. So I would just tell everyone to start small. Your finances, the business you want to do, the job you want to jump out of, whatever life you desire for yourself, it's okay to start small.
Start small. Okay, there you've heard it from the pro himself. Thank you for reminding us that it's not just about the money, it's about what the money can do for you and what money makes possible. So before we round up, I'm going to ask you one very important question that we've asked every other person.
Yeah.
So Salem, where is the money? Yeah.
The money is in other people's pockets.
Ah.
Yeah, the money is in other people's pockets, other people's bank accounts. All the money you want to make in the world is in somebody else's hand. And it reminds me of this quote. I always teach this in every class I take. I tell people that before we're in the business of anything, we're in the business of people. No matter what it is you do, whether you sell bags, you're a photographer, a podcaster, a creator, 9-to-5 accountant, whatever it is you are, before you're in the business of anything, you're in the business of people first, because all the money you want to make is in other people's pockets. All the problems you want to solve is problems that other people have. All the value you want to get is going to come from you giving something to people. So everybody who wants to start a business, we all need to become more people-minded.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love that. I didn't think about it in that direction at all. So the money is in other people's pockets.
Yeah.
Case closed. So if this episode stirred something in you, don't ignore it. Share it with someone who needs that permission to pause, or to push or to plan. And remember, peace is a decision, and financial peace is an even more deliberate decision. So you can start today to make that financial peace decision with Access ARM Pensions. To start, you could visit access-armpensions.com to learn how to open an RSA or how to open a micro pension, or how you can start making additional voluntary contributions to your already existing pension contributions. Salem, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It was really
fun.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. And we're just getting started. Next episode, let's just say it gets even deeper and you don't want to miss it. I remain your host, Chamaka Omuneme. See you in the next episode.